All right, welcome back to the practical lesson 13. And this time around, we are going to design a print ready book for an action crime adventure book cover. And if you go into that folder, the 13 folder, you will see the file, the details. So we are going to design a KDP book, 6x9, 300 pages, white page color. And of course, we have the front details, the back details, and we are going to be using about 4 different images. So this is the title. So these are just the details, and we are going to follow the details. So I have all the images downloaded already that you can see the photo credit from pixabay.com. We have a cloud, we have a man, we have a city, and then we have the author photo downloaded from Pixabay, and that's what we're going to use. So I already have the barcode that I'm going to use. I also have the font, the Cinzel, and then the Times Roman fonts. So now these are the images. I already created a folder, and then you can see these are the images we are going to use for our design. I also have a red smoke that I'm going to use for this design. So now this is the images that I'm going to use, but first things, we need to create the template. Now I'm going to open Photoshop, but first let's go to Amazon KDP site and let's create our template. Of course, this is the link. It's already an exercise file, and then you can check it. So I already downloaded that, and now let's check the color mode. You can see the color mode is RGB, so it's always RGB, so you don't have to change anything. Once you downloaded the image, you can just open it up in Photoshop, and you can see, let's see the size. Let me change that to inches, and you can see this is 9x12, and of course the bleed plus the bleed, then the resolution is 300 pixels per inch. And now we'll start designing on this template. So now let's add the background color first, then we will work on the front page, then we'll go to the back page, to the spine, and then we end up on the back page. So what I'm going to do first is select the rectangular tool, and of course I'm going to cover the whole template with the foreground color is white right now, so definitely it's going to be painted white. So I can click that and then select black, and now it's covered with black. So now we are going to start. So I'm going to bring out the ruler, that's Control R or Command R, and I'm going to drag out some guides like we did before. So like I said, sometimes you need to zoom in to make sure that you're actually accurate. So now I'm done with the guide. So if I turn this on, now you can see I can see the guide right now. So now let's start adding images to the front page. So we'll start from the front, the spine, and then we'll end up on the back. So first things first, we need to import the cloud. So I'm going to right click, So now I'm going to drag that into position, and it's done. So I'm going to import the city. So I'm going to drag that below the cloud layer. So one more image. The roof. Import the roof. So we are going to create a kind of scene that looks like a man is on the ledge, or on the ledge of another building. Then we have the city in the background, and then let's import the man too, and then we are going to drop that. So we can resize let's resize this one. Or it looks okay, so maybe it's the right size, but if it's not the right size, you can always resize. So let me adjust the layer. So we are going to make it look like the guy is actually, so you know that the book will be cut off at this inner guide, so we have to make sure that things that we want to show on the front cover is actually does not exceed that point. Okay, so now the smoke, let's just import all the images, and we are going to put it behind the man. So it's going to be, so the smoke, like I said, you can always import the smoke, or you can create your own smoke by using the brush tool. So you can just go online, Brusheezy or any other site, and get any smoke and just import, and then you can just use that to create a smoke. But I imported this one, so, and I'm going to use that like so. So the next step is to start cleaning stuff. So you can see all the images are together right now. Let's clean. Let's go to this layer. So let me turn off the man and then the smoke, and let's work on this layer. And I'm going to add a layer mask, then inside the mask, so I can turn off these other ones, and then let's clean. Make sure you select the brush tool, and then the foreground color is black, and of course so select and brush away. So the opacity is 100 right now, so I'm going to reduce that. I don't want it to be too sharp. So now you can see, and you can clean the top, so it looks so much better now. So now we're done with that. Then we'll turn on the other layer, and then we'll do the same. So add a layer mask, and then you clean the edges just like we did the other one. So you select the mask and you just paint with a brush, and then lightly, so you can see it looks like there's a full transition at the top. The goal is to make it look like it's all one image. It's not a combination of different images. We're trying to create a composite, so we add different images together. So the other roof or ledge, let me turn on the man, because I want it to make it look like the guy is actually standing on. So I'll add a mask there, and then let me brush the tool, the shoe. So maybe we should clean the shoe and make the thing kind of black. So if we turn this on, and we can add, then do the same. And now you can see it looks like one image, but you can still see the different colors. So if we turn that on, we don't have to do anything to that, so we can just drag that into position. So it's like a man possessed, you know, running wild in the city. So let me just adjust that, and now you can see you can reduce that, Control T or Command T, and let's reduce that. And now we have the man. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it look like this guy. So we can zoom in, Control plus plus or Command plus plus to the eye. So if this man is having something like some spiritual something, though, we need to add something to the eye. So I'll create a blank layer and select the brush tool, and then select the general soft brush, and then make it small. So we're gonna add something like a glow to the eye. So, and then the color, we can select any color, by the way. So we can always change the color with the color mode. So let's just select something maybe bluish, and then just put a drop like so on the empty layer. So don't worry, it doesn't look cool now, but we can fix that later. So I'll create another layer at the top, and then I'll use that for the second eye. So now we have that, and if we zoom in, you will see that we have that in the right place. So we need to change the color mode. So I'm trying to make the guy look like the eye is glowing, you know, like in movies. So we can use darken, the lighting modes, overlay, and the other one, let's see, you can always come back to that later. So let's use linear bond, and then before and after. So we can maybe add more to make it bolder. So just add, you can just click like 2 or 3 times to make it darker. And if we zoom back out, you can see the eye looks blue. I don't know if that is so now that is done. We can always come back and fix things later. So now what I want to do is to add some adjustment layers. So we need to do some color correction, starting with the backdrop, the roof, and then of course the cloud. So I will create maybe an empty layer right under, right above this one. So I want to add some, maybe some curve. So I'll click on that layer, and then I'll go to curves, and it's going to create, and you can see I'm adding it below the smoke and the man. I want to adjust the color below that. So I'm going to use all the channels, and I'm going to go to the red channel first. Like I said before, the red controls the red and cyan tone in an image. So if you want to add some red, you drag the whole line up. So if you want to remove red and maybe add a little bit of cyan, you drag it down. And now I'm dragging it down, trying to remove some red. And if I turn off all these layers, you see the before and the after. So if I turn this off, you can see I added some cyan by dragging the curve down, so removing the red in. So I'll add some green. Maybe I should add some green. If I drag it up, of course I'm adding green. If I drag it down, so I'm adding some magenta. So now dragging it up, you can see I'm adding some green to it, and then I'll go to the blue. If you drag it down, of course you'll be adding some yellow. You see yellow, but I'm going to add some blue so you can see, drag that up. So now I've added some tones of blue, green, and cyan to the image, and now you can see generally what it looks like. I can see the before and the after. So we are trying to create something like a night scene, and of course, you know, we're talking a little bit of blue and some, you know, green and, you know, no red. So now let me add maybe a levels adjustment to it. So we add it right above the curves, and we can, this, like I said, the old tone is already dark, so we don't want to make it too darker, so we need to maybe add some, we can add maybe a little bit darker, right? So we can darken, and of course we can just maybe drag this to the right, try to create a night scene. So we can just, then this I'll drag it to the left, or I can just leave it as it is. So I think it's okay like this. So it looks better actually. If I drag it, you can see, try not to make it too dark though, otherwise it's gonna mess up the whole thing. So I think maybe at this point looks good. So now we're done. You can see the before, the after. It looks kind of better actually. So now we've added levels adjustment, then we have added some curve, and you can see on the edge of the clouds it looks so much better. So let's add some hue and saturation, and we can control the hue, maybe drag it more to the cyan. So maybe a little bit to the right or to the left. Let's see where, no, that to the green. Maybe somewhere there. Looks okay. Then the saturation, we can increase the saturation and see what it looks like, and it looks so, and you can see the moon is starting to actually, the lightness and darkness. Let's see the before and after. Before and after. I don't know if it's better now or it's actually bad. So, but you can always experiment and then come back and fix things later. So now let's add some photo filter to that, and we can use the warming filters or some cooling filters actually to cool it, and maybe some blue. Blue will look okay. So now we really have a kind of night sky, and the density, okay, before, after. So I think the photo filter makes it look so much better. So you can always see the difference. See, we've gone from this to this. We added some photo filters, some hue, saturation, some levels, and so let's turn these other ones up, and then you can see the result of that. So now let me turn this on also, okay, and this, the eye. So we can work more on the eye. I need to work more on the eye actually. So I can go back and let's see if we can some divide. You can see it looks better with that divide, and I'm going to do the same for the other eye. Now you can see some orangey yellow eyeballs, but orangey yellow eye. And now if I zoom in, choose the zoom tool, and you can see what it looks like. So now I think I'm done with this, and I'm going to probably select the whole shift and select with a background. Should I add a background? No. Let me group that and just name that front page or front end. So since that black rectangle actually works with the whole spine and back, so now let's start adding the title to the front page. So now the title is Night Justice, and I'm going to add that in 2 lines. Night, and the fonts, and maybe I should stick with the Cinzel decorative. I'm going to double click that and maybe stick with that color, and then add the other one, Justice, the Night Justice, and I'm going to bold it or not. Make it all caps. When you make it all caps, you can see what it looks like. That's why I love these Cinzel decorative fonts. When you, maybe I should use the Cinzel only for this one. I like to combine both of them actually, especially if I'm working with a book with a long title that I can add in two lines. So a Night Justice, I'm going to drag it to the center like so, and this one, move tool, and then you can just drag also to the right. So now we need to change the colors. So I'm going to double click that and then make that maybe white. Yeah, it's going to look good, white. But the other one, I'll probably add some overlay, gradient overlay to that. So let me add some drop shadow to the white. I don't know if it's going to make any difference because the background there is black already. So I don't know if you see it, but maybe some little. So let's just leave that there. So I'll go to Justice and I will add some gradient overlay to this one. And of course, let me use the foreground background color. Select this and click OK. Cyan white, and I can adjust okay, the angle maybe 0, reverse, the color mode, you can change it to normal. It looks better when it's changed to normal. If I reverse that, you can see it goes from white to cyan instead of from cyan to white. So you can play with that and see, and then let me click on this and then maybe make it blue, since the general tone is like blue now, so we can use blue instead of, and then add a drop shadow. Okay, add some bevel and see if we can, the style chisel soft. I don't want to make this chisel hard, so just make it chisel up, any direction, up, down, doesn't matter. So the depths, so you can see some depth, but it's still chisel soft, not hard. And now I can add some, maybe some bevel to that and click OK. And now it looks so much better. So now this is the title. Now I'm going to add the other details, the additional text, maybe the author, or let me add the subtitle or the additional text. We are going to add a subtitle later, and I'm going to add that at the top. Double click and reduce the size to maybe 10, 11, 7, because it's a long text, so drag it and then I can drag the guide down a little bit. So double click, increase the, looks okay, and then the color, let's give it a cyan to blue color. It's not looking good, but let's see if that's better. And okay, drag it down, and I'm going to drag the guide, and of course the smoke, I'm going to drag it down. I want to leave room at the top for, so I'll go into the front page, then the 2 layers, and then the smoke, then nudge it down with the arrow, with the down arrow. So okay, just nudge it down. So and so now the subtitle, so copy that, and we're going to put it right under here. So click and paste, double click, and of course change the size and of course the color. So I'm going to drag it, make sure the width is the same, so I'm going to drag, space it out until then color, make it white. I think white looks good. You could add maybe some drop shadow. And now you can see it's better. So now we are almost done with this. So now the author name, let's add that at the base of the front page. So the author name is Ethan Griffin. Then make it bigger. Amazon best-selling. Copy and paste. Double click and reduce the size. And let's use the Times New Roman regular for this, and make it all caps and reduce the size. Drag it and you can make sure that the width now, I think that is okay. So we can make necessary adjustments and move things. So the justice and the knight, of course, put everything, or all the text, let's put everything together. So since it's the title, of course the title, the author details, let's just put everything together. So now we have the title for the front, and all this we can group them together and name it images, and we can drag the title, drag it into, so we have the front page, then we have the title, and then the images. So we have the title and the images in the front page, so we can have different folders grouped together inside one folder. So now we created another group, call that spine. Let's create another one, let's call that back page. So we're going to have the back page, the spine, the front page, but on inside the front page we have the title and the images. So now for the spine, like I said, you don't have to type again. You could just duplicate the title from the front page. So instead of repeating all we've done so far, we could just but sometimes because the background is all black, so we will probably just create another text, and since we are going to make it all white actually, because it's on a white, it's going to be on a black background, so the gradient that we added to the justice we probably won't show. So we just create justice and then drag it, and of course duplicate that and then name it night. Then move it to the top. Okay, double click that, and now let's change that to the Cinzo regular, and you can see we have, make it white, and the justice we can make it white too. Okay, so that's the reason why I did not copy the title from the front page, so because I wanted to make it all white, and you can see that for the front page we added some gradient to the justice. So now we could copy this one since they're all white, or we could just recreate it, doesn't matter. So type tool and paste it. Cinzo regular. Here's the size. Check. Control T or Command T, then rotate until hold down the Shift key to make it straight and drag it into position like that. And I can leave a space, maybe extra space between, so it looks too close together, so we have maybe remove one space, and now it looks okay. So now we are done with the spine. So the spine is very easy to do, and now we move to copy and drag into the spine. Now the back, let's start working on the back. So we'll copy the details So this time around, I'm going to duplicate the title. I want to add it to the back, so I don't have to recreate it this time around. So this is justice. Let's remove the copy, and I'll select both, and I'm going to drag it out. Control T, rotate, hold down the shift, and then drag it up like so, and make sure the top is on the same line with that text on the front page, and we can use the guide to make sure it's actually straight. So now you can see it's straight. Now we can increase the size to maybe 4950, drag it, then we do the same for justice, 4950, 49. Drag this to the left, select both of them and drag it using the arrow key left and up like so. And now let's add the other text. And like I said before, you select the text tool and then you draw out area where you want the text to fill. So let's start with you can see there's lots of text. So let's maybe something like a quote first. We have 3 quotes here, so we can maybe add one to the top, the other 2 after the description. So let's add one of the quotes first. Copy that, then draw it out. Just drag out an area, and of course you can always control the size. So double click and paste, and now double click again and reduce the size to maybe 10, okay, 6, 7, 8. And check, double click and change the color to that cyan color, or blue, no, maybe a lighter blue will be fine. Or I could just type in a color, and that blue looks nice. So the name, the editor name who made the code, so paste it there, and let's double click and change that to maybe white, and then Cinzel regular, the black. Then let's italicize this one. And drag to the middle or to the end. I don't know if it's better in the middle or in the end, so we can come back and do that later. So I think middle will be fine. Then the font, yeah, Good Times Roman will be. Okay. Now Okay, let's make that also. Then not all caps, but we can bold it and increase the size to 11, 12, 11, 12. Okay, check. Then the color, let me use that color. Now this, let's drag this to the middle. Since the alignment is middle alignment, so let's do so now the description, copy that and then draw out, or I could just duplicate that, Ctrl J or Command J, and see if and then I'll drag that down, drag it down, and I'm going to duplicate again, then duplicate one more time. There are two codes there, so I'm going to make one of them the description, the other two we can, so this one, so I can paste the description and let me drag it down to reveal all the text inside. So this is the end of the text, so color, make it white, click on OK. The other two, I'm going to select, shift select to drag them down like so. So select and then copy and then duplicate that also and drag it down. So now I can copy the name and then paste it. Do it for the other one and paste it. And now we are done. The details I can just leave those lines the way they are. So now I can drag the whole thing up to leave room for, to create room for the author and the author details. So this layer and this layer up to this point I can drag up. Then this layer, okay, and drag it down. And I'm going to select that layer up to this layer, drag everything up. Okay. And this up to this point, drag it up. So now we have equal spacing. Now we have room for the auto detail. So I'm going to use this as the auto pic or the auto photo. I'm going to import it in Photoshop, and the barcode or the ISBN number, drag and drop, drag it here. I'm going to turn off the background and then make sure the barcode is, let's put it in the right position. So now you can see it's okay, and you can see once it's turned off, you can see all the text are in the right position. Of course, that's why it's important for us to use the guide, so we are not just walking without seeing what we're doing. So now that that is done, the auto, let me drag that and I'm gonna put it, then drag it into a little bit up and a little bit to the left. I can resize it, holding down the and I could make it straight, so the edge is actually straight. So there are many ways to design your back page. So let me increase the size of that and make sure the lines are straight, and I could do so for the, okay, and I could do so for the other text, but for now I'm going to leave it like that. So I'm just going to add the auto details. So of course, let's copy the name is the same. Of course, we can copy that. And paste. Let's use the Georgia font for this. Make it all caps, bold, and of course increase the size. Okay, I think it looks better now. Double click and let's make the color white. So the auto details, draw it out. And now the details. Control C, Command C, and paste. Now we can double click and reduce the size. Change the fonts. And reduce the size. And if I go to, okay, I can increase the size more, and I think 9 or 10 looks okay. So now that that is done, I can take this layer and of course you have to control, make sure, like I said, make sure they're actually straight. So the other text you can just you know, so you can do different things and just move things around. Like this layer, this text for example, I could change the color. I don't like that blue, so let's go to the title on the front, and yeah, this justice on the dark, no, don't be, and then the color, maybe whites will look good, and increase the size 9. Okay, then drop it down, and so generally this is how you can design a book cover, and especially a book of this genre. So you need to make sure you actually group things together, the spine, the back, and then the front, and then make sure you, like we added the adjustment layer, you can see that everything looks good, and then when you submit this, it's going to. So I hope you like this video. Like I said, you should try as much as possible to follow this video and design the same thing. So that's how you become very good. So I'm going to save the PSD, and later on I'm going to save the PDF version, because this is a book cover, so definitely it's for print. It's a Kindle book, so because we are using a Kindle size, so we'll go to save as, and we are going to select the Photoshop PDF. You can see Photoshop PDF, and then leave the ICC profile check and just save. And now just save PSD or PDF, sorry, and you can see the end result. So if you open this, you will see that it opens in Photoshop, and you can see the layers are even intact, but it looks so much cool. And if you zoom in, you are going to see. So this is the end of this design. So, and I hope you like it, and I hope you can achieve the same thing. So in the next video, we will design some horror book cover, or let's design some mystery suspense or some thriller cover, and we will go from there. So let me save the JPEG version, and then if I open the JPEG version, you can see what it looks like. It looks very, very good. So this is the end of this video. I hope you like the video. Thank you, and on to the next video.